Cory Sherman. So what brokerage are you with right now?
I am with Keller Williams.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I
in
thought.
the South Point office.
Okay. All right. How long you been with them?
So I've been with Keller Williams since 2018.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I started with a different firm. I got licensed in 2017.
Okay.
It was like a 100% commission.
Yeah.
Kind of followed the shiny penny and
Yeah.
took some bad advice early on. Didn't work out, and like 6 months later, I was with Keller Williams.
Okay. Yeah, I was with Keller Williams for, let me think, 2019 to 2022 maybe.
Oh,
Raleigh office.
Yeah. Okay. Right on. So you know Patrick
Agree.
Madigan?
Maybe. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Should I?
I don't know. I think he's in the Raleigh office.
Okay.
You can edit that out.
Yeah.
It's out of the office.
Do you know Scott Taylor? He's the operating partner there.
Okay.
So that one, the one in Cary, and then a couple in South Carolina, I think. But anyway, yeah, Keller Williams was great. What made you get your license in 2017?
So I was in the beer and wine industry before real estate,
Let's go.
and I moved here from San Francisco. I'm originally from Raleigh, but I was living in the Bay Area for about 5 years. My wife and I. Oh well, she wasn't my wife then, but we moved to North Carolina. I was working at a craft beer spot in Raleigh. We got married, and my wife got pregnant, and I was looking for a job that I wasn't nights and weekends.
Yeah.
Or at least not late nights and weekends.
Right.
And a guy that I knew in San Francisco, really good friend of mine, he had moved to Salt Lake City. He and I kept in touch. We talk every week or every other week. He called me. He said, "Hey man, I just got hired as a showing assistant for this huge real estate team in Salt Lake City. It's great." He's like, "I'm done by 2:00, and then I go snowboarding all day." He was like, "You should get your real estate license." And I was like, "Oh, no, that's not for me." And then my brother, who lives in Raleigh, he's in construction. He works in custom home building. He encouraged me that same week. He was like, "Man, have you thought about getting your real estate license?" And I was like, "That's not for me."
Yeah.
And then one of the regulars at the bar that I worked at was a mortgage broker.
Okay.
And he was hanging out late one night while I was closing up shop. And he was like, "Man, have you ever thought about getting your real estate license?" And I was like, "Hey, people keep telling me that."
Yeah.
So I took that as a sign.
Yeah.
And went ahead and got licensed. And I said, "I'll give it a year."
Yeah. And it worked out, huh?
Well, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. What was that first year like for you?
First year, so I'll be honest, I know a lot of people come on and they're like, "Oh man, the first year was so tough." And it was. I got a really lucky break, the day I got licensed.
Really? Why?
Not the day.
Yeah,
but, probably within 3 months.
Yeah.
I started a campaign to tell all my friends that I got my real estate license. And the way I did it was, all my friends at the time, which this was part of my thought process at the time, I was 30. I was like, all my friends are coupled up. They're probably gonna start buying houses in the next few years if the timing's right. What I noticed was that all my friends, they were coupled up and had a dog.
Okay.
And from a previous failed business idea from many years ago, I had this 1,000 postcards with paintings of every different breed of dog.
Okay.
Just coincidentally.
Yeah.
So I went on Facebook and I looked up what everybody's dog looked like. And I sent them a postcard with the closest looking dog from the postcard that I had. Wow. And I was handwritten. So, "Hey, blah, 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 blah. I just got a real estate license. If you ever need help, let me know." So I sent all those out. It took me all day.
Yeah.
Something I would never do it now. But at the time, you don't have any money, but you got lots of time.
You got all the time in the world, yeah.
And the thing was, right after I got licensed, my wife and I had this 6-week road trip plan. We were going back to California, picking up all of our stuff that we'd left, and we were coming back to North Carolina. So my plan was, but we were making a trip out of it.
Yeah.
My plan was get my license, go on this road trip, come back, and really hit the ground running.
Mm-hmm.
And a week before we left on that road trip, I got a text from a really dear friend of mine who I've known forever. And she's like, "We found this house on Craigslist. Can you help us buy it?" And I was like, "I'll do my best, but I'm going on this road trip."
Yeah.
So anyway, my first deal I did entirely remotely, and I had help.
All right.
My brother, he still had his, he helped me with some of the inspections and stuff.
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong, I had help, but I did this whole deal while I was on this road trip, and then I came home to the most money I'd ever made in my life.
Wow.
And the transaction was a total layup.
Really?
It was like the easiest,
Oh, dude.
So I came back, and then I was just like, this is the best job ever.
Yeah.
And obviously I got, I got a taste, a little taste too soon, because we all know that they're not.
Oh.
There are some transactions where if you were on a 6-week road trip, it would be hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got real lucky. So I think that early success kind of like really pushed me to like get it.
Really? That's a cool story.
Yeah. So I was very fortunate.
Yeah.
And that first year, I mean, it was tough. I don't think I did less than 10 transactions.
Okay.
But that early success, like,
Right.
got the wheels going.
Yeah, I can do this long term. Yeah, that's sick, man. By the way, the coffee you are drinking, I've never had it, but it's Carolina Coffee Company, and it's the Carolina Christmas blend, because we have Christmas coming up.
I can taste the Christmas.
You can taste the Christmas.
Yeah.
So what we'll do at the end of the show is we'll rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst cup of coffee, 10 being the best cup of coffee.
Can we be honest?
Yeah, be honest.
Okay.
But
it's not like sponsored by.
No, it's not sponsored
by.
by. No, because I'm thinking the same thing.
Okay, cool. You never know.
Yeah, I took one sip. Yeah, but we'll review it at the end. It's flavored with cinnamon, almond, macaroon, Bavarian chocolate. So I don't know. We'll taste or we'll review it at the end of the show.
Marketing is a hell of a thing.
Yeah, because the bag looks sick. That's why I picked it up.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a sick bag. Seems cool. I don't know, but we'll review it at the end.
Carolina Coffee Company, we are coming for you.
That's right. I'm not had it. Have you ever had them?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I haven't either. So talk to me a little bit about this agent,
agent advantage.
Agent advantage.
Yeah.
AGENT.
Yeah,
Advantage.
the agent advantage. Yeah. So just how I got how I kind of got introduced to the agent framework was I've been doing real estate for 7 years now. I just crossed 75 million in sales volume as a solo agent.
Nice.
I have been a part of over 200 real estate negotiations, and the negotiating aspect of our line of work is the part that I like the most. No, it's like every job, you got some things you don't like to do, some things you do like to do. The negotiating part is my opportunity to really advocate for the client.
Yeah.
And it's where I feel like I can bring a tremendous amount of value, because I've done it so many times. Most people they're not involved in these negotiations but once or twice in their life.
Right.
I'm doing it every day.
Yeah.
So I've always like really taken ownership of that part of the process. And then about 2 years ago, I started this path to get a teaching certification within Keller Williams. They have a Keller Williams, KWU.
Yeah.
And as part of the certification process, you have to teach a certain number of times, and you have to teach Keller Williams material, and you have to get a certain number of feedback forms. It took me 2 years to get all that, because in the middle we had our third kid, so I had to take a couple months off from teaching. But when I jumped back into it, I was reaching out to all these market centers all across North Carolina. I said, hey, I'm trying to get my KW teaching certificate. I'm coming in for free to teach. Here's 3 topics that I specialize in. Which one would provide the most value? And that was like, this started at the beginning of this year. And hands down, 100% of the market centers were saying win-win negotiations. That's the class they wanted. They didn't want win with buyers. They didn't want win with sellers. They didn't want 6 personal perspectives.
That's right.
They didn't want the mindset stuff.
Yeah.
They wanted win-win negotiations.
I could agree with that.
Mhm.
That's what I would want.
That's the market we're in, right?
Yeah.
Like, there was a time where, you kind of did all the negotiating on the front end.
Right.
And, now it's every conversation with it, not just like repair negotiations, but writing offers, talking to sellers about, how we're marketing, how we're pricing, how we're priced. Like, all of those are negotiations. All of those are conflicts.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in this industry, they shy away from conflict.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's a big part of it's what we do. It's what people hire us to do.
Yeah.
I
would say too, like, from my experience, you would have way more experience than I would in this. Some agents don't, especially I would say newer agents, don't even know what they can negotiate. They don't even know what are negotiable aspects of a contract or of a due diligence process or, agent for pay request agreement. Yeah.
For sure. We're not taught this.
Mm-hmm.
You go to real estate school You don't learn anything that helps you on your job.
Right.
And then you start getting clients. We learn about sales. We learn how to talk on the phone and how to market ourselves on social media, all important parts of growing a business. But there's a huge void in our, like a gap in our skills around negotiation and managing conflict. And I define, conflict for me is an opportunity. That's that's where the growth happens. It's like when you go on to a listing appointment, it's not always just like, hey, come list me. Sometimes we have to it's like a meeting of the minds, and we have to understand each other's positions and our interests, and we have to come up with a creative way to get a home sold. And that takes buy-in from both parties. And so, nationally, the most recent statistic was 15% of all transactions going under contract are falling through. It's like the highest level that it's been in 30 years.
Wow. I don't know that.
I can speak to that myself. I had 3 deals fall apart early at the beginning of this year, and I've hardly ever had a deal fall apart. It's very, very rare. So I had 3 almost back to back. So anyway, simultaneously that I was doing this teaching, I met a guy through a mutual friend in Durham. His name is Dr. Sam Bayer. He is a former CEO of a company called Corvist. He's retired. He sold his company to private equity. He's the CEO of it for 14 years. Been a part of a lot of kind of high-level corporate negotiations. Has done a lot of training on negotiation training and conflict mediation. He's retired, and he's spending his time doing free workshops in Durham around negotiation and conflict mediation with this framework that he developed. So I was introduced to him.
When was this?
This was like in July of this year.
Okay, cool.
And I took one of his trainings. It's like a 2-hour workshop that he does. He does it at a place called ReCity in Durham, which is a co-working space for nonprofits.
Okay.
Specifically for nonprofit companies. And I was immediately attracted to his framework. The AGENT is an acronym. And I immediately saw the simplicity of the framework and how it could be applied to real estate. So he and I developed a relationship over the next couple of weeks. And I kind of pitched him. And I was like, look, I want to take your framework and I want to bring it into the real estate vertical. Because right now he was kind of focused on like small business owners,
Yeah.
And I want to bring this into the real estate vertical because it aligns very closely with Keller Williams win-win negotiations. But it's like a newer, fresher take on that concept. I can also teach it in 2 hours, where like win-win negotiations is like a very, very long class. It's hard to get people to stick around for a long class. And Dr. Sam developed a chatbot that's trained on his negotiation framework. So he introduced his AI chatbot to me, and I started using it before going on listing consultations. And I've had 2 really big successes with it.
Describe what that is.
Okay. So we're all familiar with ChatGPT. We're all familiar with maybe we're not. Within ChatGPT, there's something called a custom GPT. Custom GPT is, you can start chats and the person, or not the person, but the thing you're talking to is trained on a certain thing. It could be accounting. It could be marketing. It could be a certain influencer that you like's thought process. This one is trained on Dr. Sam's negotiation framework, which is called the AGENT framework. So I'll give you a perfect example. Back in July, I went on a cold listing appointment. Okay. And I was up against another agent. And historically, my conversion rate for a completely cold listing appointment when I'm up against other agents is low. It's low. I know it's a weak spot in my business. Like, I know it. I need to work on that metric. I called these folks before the listing appointment. I went through my pre-listing, questionnaire. Pre-listing questionnaire is, do you know what homes in your neighborhood have sold for? Is this your first time selling? Do you have any concerns or fears around the sale? And one of the things they said to me was they have this beautiful house, totally renovated to the nines, but it's on a busy street. And they had a concern about marketability in this market of the house being on a busy street. So I went to the chatbot and I said, look, I got a conflict. I'm going on a cold listing appointment. and the people that I'm talking to have concerns around the marketability of their property because of its proximity to the street. Help me have this conversation. So the way the agent chatbot works, and the acronym for agent is A stands for awareness. You have to be aware that you're in a conflict. Okay. And it seems easy, but it isn't always easy. So awareness is just like, I'm going into this listing consultation. These people don't know me. I want to get the listing. They want to sell their house. They want to make sure that I'm the man for the job.
Right.
That's a conflict. So G is ground yourself. And ground yourself is, you think of your own positions, what do I want from this conversation? But you also take it a step further. Why do I want it? And I feel like that's where a lot of people break down in their negotiations, especially as agents. We're thinking about, let's say you're representing a buyer, you're thinking about the sellers. We know their positions. They want more money. That's a triggering, when you say they want more money without asking the next question, which is, why do they want more money? We'll get into that in a second. Without understanding the why behind it, it's triggering to just look at somebody's positions. Because then we start projecting what we think the reason is onto them, and that's not always positive.
Right.
So you have to ground yourself. What are my interests? What do I want from this conversation? Then there's E, which is empathize. Empathize is an exercise you can do on your own, but really it's just asking the other person what their interests are. So how could this look in a real estate transaction? Is you call the listing agent and you ask a question like, are there any dates or timeline that the seller is sensitive to? Oh, well, they're selling this house. They're retiring. They're retired. They need to get as much money from the sale of this house as possible because this is it. They got to live off of this for the rest of their life. Okay. Are there any outside pressures influencing their decision? Oh yeah. Well, they actually have two brothers. They have two kids that don't want them to sell because they think it's going to impact their inheritance. By asking those questions, you went from the sellers are greedy and they just want as much money as possible to understanding that there's actually some subtle but forceful family dynamics at play here that we need to take into consideration. So E is empathize. It's where you're trying to figure out the other person's interests. N is negotiate. That's where you get to collaborate. That's where you get to be creative. That's where we, like you said, a lot of new agents don't even know the terms that are negotiable. That's where we get to have that conversation to how do we get these two parties to the finish line.
Yeah.
And T is tie it all together. In real estate, it's easy because we have contracts.
Right.
In life, it can be difficult. But you have to have some sort of document in place that says this is what we're agreeing to, and this is what happens if we don't do what we say.
Right.
So the agent chatbot takes me through the framework with what I input about this listing consultation. And what it allowed me to do is role play the conversation before I went into it. I gave the chatbot the concerns that that the client shared with me over the phone, and we were able to have a conversation which prepared me to go into that listing appointment instead of just shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
Giving them my presentation, asking them the same questions I ask everybody. And to me, I think the real power in the chatbot, look, what the chatbot gave me wasn't a million new ideas on how to market it. It gave me 30 minutes of prep time to really think about what these people wanted. And I had to generate a list of questions for me to ask. And I had some ideas on how we could market despite being on the busy road. So when I went on the listing appointment, I took, I was prepared with the framework. I'd already modeled the conversation. You don't know where it's going to go, right? Like I said, I was prepared. I had my questions, went through it. They called me the next day. They hired me. They told me specifically I was the only agent that they felt was actually having a conversation with them and didn't just come in and present, talk at them. It was the highest priced home I'd ever listed. It was $26,000 in GCI.
Wow.
Never would have gotten it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say I never got
it.
But there are some leading indicators that the preparation I did beforehand is the reason that I got it. And so now I've been doing it before every listing consultation. It's like I'm going into these conversations So often we just rush into them. Same with repair negotiations. We just rush into them without asking the questions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the framework does. Just tells us to slow down, go through the framework, ask, come up with what questions to ask, have a dialogue, and you can get creative with the negotiation.
The framework, let's say you get the listing and all that stuff, and then they say, I'm trying to think of a scenario of which their position might change a little bit. The job fell through, and we got to sell because we're moving to San Francisco for a job. Job fell through. Whatever. Do you go back to that framework for, like, how do I handle this situation? Or is the framework that you're using is just like a one and done type thing?
No, fantastic question. So there is a negotiation concept called a BATNA. BATNA stands for Best Alternative to a Negotiated Agreement. And part of the agent framework is understanding your client or the other person's BATNA. And the BATNA is important because if this agreement doesn't work out, what are you going to do? Like, what's the alternative?
Yeah.
So in the situation, when you go into that listing appointment, the BATNA is, we got to sell. We're not in a huge rush. We can test the market, see what happens. If it doesn't sell, it's okay. If we don't get the price that we want, it's okay. That's a certain negotiating position. Then all of a sudden you're in the middle, and they're like, oh, we got the job. We're under contract on our house in Seattle. We need to sell in the next 4 weeks. That changes the conversation. But if you don't understand the BATNA, then you don't know where to take the conversation. So that BATNA is super. It's really, really powerful. And negotiation in real estate, we see it all the time. We're negotiating due diligence repairs. What's the BATNA of the buyer? Walk away. Now, is there pain involved in walking in the way? In North Carolina, there sure is, because we have due diligence.
Yeah.
So the BATNA could be different if it's a $10,000 due diligence versus a $500 due diligence.
Right.
Same with the seller.
Yeah.
They don't have, the contract says the seller doesn't have to make any repairs or give any money once you go under contract. Their only motivation for doing it is to get the house sold. So what's the BATNA? Well, you could, if the buyer is digging in because they need this money or they need the interest rate, but whatever it is, we have the conversation. BATNA is, we gotta come to terms, or we don't, and we risk them walking away.
Right.
How strong is the BATNA? Without understanding that, and as real estate agents, we're doing this on behalf of our client, right? Yeah. So that's why it's the conflict within our client, asking the question so that we understand, and with the other side.
What do you think most agents miss in negotiations?
I think that they project their own, they project what's going on with them or their own preconceived notions onto the other side. Meaning they go in not feeling like it's a collaboration and that it's only one person, like there's only one winner and one loser.
Yeah. Because what's the goal, right?
We all have the same goal.
Yeah.
Buyers and sellers have the same goal. And I tell my buyers that all the time. It's, even when due diligences were crazy high, of course, the buyer says, oh, well, they don't have any motivation to negotiate anything after that, which is true.
Right.
Their BATNA is,
you walk away sitting off the table.
That's right. But even then, I found most buyers and sellers, when they go under contract, they have that same goal. There's usually flexibility. Not always.
Right.
But usually there is.
Yeah. That's interesting. So this framework that you have, is it accessible for other agents to use? If so, how? If not, when?
So I'm teaching workshops.
Okay.
On the framework.
Okay.
So I have a virtual option. I do a 2-hour virtual workshop, and I do a 4.5 hour like in-person half-day workshop.
Okay.
And there's more to the framework. Like there's different negotiation styles that we cover that we kind of have to understand why and when to use the agent framework. Because here's the deal. Every negotiation doesn't call for it.
Right.
Sometimes you get those easy couple of little repair items, try them a couple $100.
Yep.
In that situation is like, is it really worth the time and energy to like ask all the questions.
Yeah.
We don't always need to do that.
Yeah.
So in the workshop, we go over the 4 different negotiation personalities that there are.
Do you mind going over what those are real quick?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. So all of this is based on what's called interest-based negotiation. This has been around for a long time. It's,
Okay.
Dr. Sam's framework, but it's based on research that's been going on for 60 years.
Okay.
What interest-based negotiation tells us is the opportunity to collaborate and get creative is in direct proportion with how much you care about the outcome of the conflict and how much you care about the person.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about it, you're walking down the street, someone bumps into you. They get in your face. Hey man, what was that? You have options.
No.
You can engage that person and get to an altercation. Or you're like, I don't care about this person. I don't care about the outcome of this conflict. So you just ignore it.
No.
We call that the turtle. The turtle is someone that ignores conflict. In that situation, be a turtle. Like, move on.
Yeah.
But in a situation with like a spouse or a broker in charge or a colleague or a friend or someone we're negotiating with, when you turtle, you're giving in, you lose and the other person wins.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm sorry, you lose and the other person loses because we didn't take that opportunity to collaborate.
Mm-hmm.
But there are situations that warrant being a turtle.
Right.
On the other side, you have, let's say you care about the person, but you don't care about the outcome. You might just give in to the other person because you love the, like maybe it's a spouse,
Right.
and they're like, where do you want to go for dinner? And like, you want to go for Chinese, and they really want to go to Italian.
Yeah.
You're like, whatever, let's just go for Italian.
Good example.
Right? It's a good example, right? So you puppy dog it.
Right.
You roll over.
Yeah.
Because it's fine. You care about this person.
Yeah.
But you don't care where you eat. But imagine in that scenario, you lose because you've sort of given in and they win. But it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a big deal. But imagine if every single Friday, your spouse was like, I want Italian. And every time you gave in, you lose, so to speak, it's like a little notch on your shoulder. It's there's a cost.
Right.
It may not be a big cost, but if it was every Friday for a year, eventually you're going to say, I don't want Italian. Right?
Mm.
Now you care about the problem and you care about the person. So we move to the agent framework.
Mm.
And then the third is alliant, which is where I win and you lose.
Mm-hmm.
And some agents think of themselves as lions. And a lot of agents, when I do this class, they ask me, this is the question I always get. Don't my clients hire me to be a lion?
Mm.
Isn't it my job to negotiate as much as I can and beat the other person down? Because that's what they hired me to do.
Right.
And the answer is, it depends.
Yeah.
It depends. We as real estate agents, we have reputations. So if we care about the relationship with the other agent and we care about this outcome, maybe you can be a lion once, but if you're a lion every single time and the other agent is always losing and you are just steamrolling them, what happens when you're in a multiple offer situation and you submit an offer on behalf of your client and that agent says, hey, this person, we don't want to do business with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying there's no time to be a lion.
Yeah.
It's just know that it comes at a cost. Could be a small cost, could be a big cost.
Right.
So in that situation, you care about the outcome, but you don't care about the person. So all of these kind of go on this spectrum.
Yeah.
And then in the corner, you have the agent framework, and that's collaborate, and that's win-win. And that's for the difficult negotiations in real estate, the tricky ones, the sticky ones, the ones where there's a lot of parties, the ones where the margin of error is super tight, the ones where it's an estate sale. You know what I mean? It's not every real estate negotiation requires the framework.
Right.
But the sticky ones, the ones that fall apart,
Yeah.
or have the greatest, chance of falling apart, that's where it applies.
Mm.
So in the workshop, we dig into those different personalities to figure out what kind of personality, because we all default to one.
Yeah.
Which one are we?
Yeah. Which one are you?
Which one are we? Well, puppy dog.
Are you?
Going into this because
Yeah.
I like everybody to be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tend to not avoid conflict in the turtle, but not push it.
Right.
just because I want to keep the peace.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my default since I was a kid, you know?
Yeah.
But that doesn't serve us in our jobs.
Right.
Right. And so when I learned about the agent framework, it kind of shed a light on that. And here's the crux of it is that when you don't collaborate with another person, or when you ignore a conflict, you potentially rob yourself and the other person an opportunity to grow and an opportunity to learn.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm probably a puppy dog too. If I think about it.
And look, there are certain times where that's totally fine.
Yeah.
You know, like the agent framework, that collaborative method, that takes time.
Yeah.
It's just, you know what I mean? Like, remember, you got to care about the person and you got to care about the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
In real estate, you know, sometimes we have 21 days of due diligence to like do that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's good to kind of set that collaborative expectation up front. I feel like by having conversation with, maybe a listing agent and asking them what would make this a win for your client. Hey, a couple of these things came up on the home inspection report. How would your sellers like to overcome it? Oh, well, they would prefer to, they're general contractors, so they'll be comfortable making the repairs versus giving the money. Oh, it's important information.
Right. It's a good way to ask them. Yeah, that's sharp. Looking at the industry, do you think realtors as a whole are just as relevant today, their job and what we do day in and day out, as it was 50 years ago, or do you think our relevancy is fading?
I think that our industry is going to concentrate. And by that, I mean the days of just opening doors and filling in blanks on the contract, and collecting a check at the end are numbered.
Yeah.
I think that we are stepping way more, and in my mind, it's not a bad thing, in an advisory role and a consultant role.
Yeah.
And the agents that don't embrace that are going to fall behind because there are so many tools that are available to the consumer.
Yeah.
There are so many tools that are available to the consumer. So what do we bring to the table beyond opening a door,
right?
And looking at a couple of comps, right? Mm-hmm. Like what local market, there are some local market insights that AI is not going to know.
Right.
And it's just because they're not the boots on the ground.
Right.
And they're only using things from the past, not about the future. So being able to have those high level conversations, that's why I say it's going to concentrate, because the agents who can't have those conversations, and some of them are going to be difficult conversations, are the ones that are going to fall behind.
Yeah.
I think, what they talk about in Keller Williams and in the industry is we're in a skills-based market, right? It's you can't just have your license and get a few deals. Like, you got to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it is there's two types of agents. You have a confident agent and you have a competent agent. And we were in a market where you could just get by as a confident agent. And now it's all about competency, which is actually good news because you can work on competency.
Oh yeah.
Those are skills based, that's working on your skills and getting better at having conversations, getting better at negotiating, managing conflict. Those are all skills that you can improve on.
Yeah.
And when you get more competent, the confidence comes. So
yeah.
It's hard to go the other way around.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think negotiations is a huge piece now, just because, obviously back during COVID, I mean, the negotiations were happening, but it's not like now,
Well, negotiations were happening, but the conversations were different.
Yeah.
The conflict was maybe with you and your buyer who was writing the offer.
Yeah.
And getting them to see what a winning offer looks like. Those were hard conversations in a different way than the ones we're having now.
Yeah. I remember, actually, speaking of you being at Durham, I was at a Durham Bulls concert when I had a client from New York who wanted to put an offer in on a house, and we put in 10 offers at that point, didn't get any of them. And I was like, if you want to move down here because your job starts in 2 months, here's what you need to do to win an offer. And being at the Durham Bulls concert, or the Durham Bulls baseball game, and being like, And like, that's crazy. Like there's no way. And eventually he got the house and it all worked out. But yeah, those were tough conversations. Like when you talk about having somebody you care about, your client, and then having the conflict, but being like, I care about you. That's why you need to do what I'm telling you to do, because I'm, like you said, competent in my job to know what it takes to get that house that you want.
The agents who can have the best conversations, and by best I mean the most informed, the most data driven, the most empathetic, the ones that can employ the most emotional intelligence, those are the agents that are going to survive, and they're going to do really, really well.
Yeah. How do you think an agent works on the negotiation skill? Like, how do you build that skill, cultivate it?
Yeah, so role play, right? And I'm telling you, today it would be like, not everybody likes to role play, and I get that. There's judgment from our peers, especially if you feel like you are new and you don't know as much as everybody else. Like, I get that. Start negotiating with the chatbot. Like, literally, just start there. I'm telling you, it is so powerful. Just to, again, my thing is I just shoot from the hip. I'm just go, and I get the appointment, and I prepare for it. But just stop and think and go through the framework just for a couple of minutes. Jot down a few questions that are relevant to that person, like in their situation and what you know about them. Is going to go a long way. And then it's practice. And then it's practice. And then it's practice.
Yeah.
Just like any skill.
Yeah.
I mean, the framework is, when you start using it, you start seeing opportunities everywhere where it can be done.
Yeah.
Right? And like, here's the thing about, sometimes when you empathize with the other side, sometimes it's hard not to get triggered by that. By when you think about the other person's position. Why are they being like that?
Yeah.
They're just being greedy.
Yeah.
You get like, like, sometimes maybe if you've been in a tense negotiation, or maybe if you've been in a situation where you feel like the other side is trying to take advantage of your client, and you're the whatever
Fence.
and the chemicals go off in your brain. That's an animalistic state when those chemicals go off in your brain.
Yeah.
Can't negotiate from that state.
Yeah.
Let's take a step back.
My wife's gonna be like, "Are you trying to do negotiation tactics on me right now?" I'm Italian. How many kids you got?
3.
How old are they?
7.5, 4.5, and 1.5.
Wow, nice. So how's it been being a full-time realtor, crushing it, being a father, husband, all that good stuff?
Oh, it's got its ups and downs.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to be in this industry. It's given me a lot. It's put me down the path of entrepreneurship, and I don't think there's any greater personal growth journey that somebody can go on than being an entrepreneur. But when I wanted to get out of the beer and wine industry so I didn't have to work nights and weekends,
Yeah.
it doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah.
So it's got its challenges.
Yeah.
But I've been at it now for like 8 years. But for me personally, I mean, I kind of reinvent myself every 5 years. I just like to, I kind of get bored. I'm like a novelty seeker.
Yeah.
So I mean, even before I got in with Dr. Sam and the agent framework, I love to teach. So my sort of plan, and it's the primary goal is to grow the real estate business, but to get out and teach, do some podcasts like this, meet other agents around the state, around the country, generate agent-to-agent referrals, which is my number 2 source of business, and really develop that side of the business while also working on sort of a new path for myself as an educator, is kind of where I'm at right now.
That's really cool. There's an agent here, I don't know if you know him, Jason Kojak. He teaches real estate investing and stuff too at NC State, but he also has a team in business that really good guy. And just, I think he has a really good like balance of teaching side that he's really passionate about and loves, and I still have clients that I'm serving and stuff.
Sure.
So
you got to figure out what fills your cup.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a million different ways to grow your real estate business. A lot of ways to get business. A lot of ways to lead generate. And you got to, and I've done, I always tell agents, you got two resources to spend on growing your business: time and money. In the beginning, you got more time than money, so I've done a lot.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of money on different leads. But if they don't align with who you are,
Yeah.
you're going to get burnt out.
Yeah.
You're not going to show up. You're going to fall off. So you're going to waste the time or you're going to waste the money. So you have to find, you got to find 3 lead generation models that, like what you're doing with podcasts.
Yeah.
You obviously, it's something you're passionate about.
For sure.
It's a great opportunity for you to sharpen your skills, meet other agents,
We can talk about collaboration. I mean, that's what this is, like talking to other agents and learning from them and stuff. I mean, that's how the whole podcast was born, was because I just like talking to successful agents who are doing great things and finding out what are they doing that's working for them. And I was like, let's get in a room with a microphone and a camera. And
yeah. I do a free, me and my colleague, the guy I told you about at the beginning, the guy in Salt Lake City told me I should get my real estate license. He's a big time agent in San Francisco now. That's where he's from. He and I do a coaching call every Monday. It's free.
Oh, okay.
Anybody's welcome. We'll give you the link if you want to put it out. We do a free coaching call. December. We're off for the rest of the month, picking back up in January. And he and I talk all the time. And he's my really good friend. And the number one reason that we do this coaching call is so that we can stay sharp ourselves.
Yeah.
This is just keep our skills sharp.
Yeah.
So we try. It's short. It's 45 minutes. It's on our lunch break. We always try to leave with an actionable item, but it's also so like we can spend a little bit of time learning what top agents are doing. And for me, that's like the exciting part of this industry. So there's always something to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. Too, teaching. I mean, I don't know if it's a saying. I don't know. Teaching is
you're about to say it, so
we're gonna make it a saying. Teaching is like the best form of learning, right? I mean, like to be able to teach and articulate something, you have to know it pretty well. And so that's always really cool. Like, I mean, I wouldn't call myself a teacher or have a desire to really teach, but when I do have to explain something to either a new agent or something, like being able to articulate it as like, okay, yeah, maybe I don't fully know that subject of negotiating or whatever it might be. Let me dive into it so I can articulate it better to you.
But you're a storyteller, so you can muddle through it and still sound pretty
yeah, we can fake it till we make it, for sure.
But no, you're totally right. I mean, you just sometimes hearing yourself say the words, is like different than the way it is in your head. So.
100%. Yeah. So you're solo.
So I have it's me and I have one full-time admin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
when did you bring on an
admin? She started full-time. She started in a part-time role about 1.5 years ago, close to 2 years, and she's been in a full-time salary role since April.
How's that been going?
It's been going great. I mean, that's the dynamic duo.
Yeah.
It's like a sales and marketing person and a operations person.
Talking a little bit about, I mean, to be sure, you had a little bit of stress of like full-time. We have a roller coaster business of like, can I keep her full-time? She obviously probably has other responsibilities in her life that she has to pay for and bills and utilities and stuff. So now that kind of falls on you to make sure the business is coming in, right? Was there pressure?
The question, is that stressful? Yes, it is stressful. It is stressful, but I can't get to my next level without another person. Gary Keller says when you hit your glass ceiling of achievement, you're missing a person or you're missing a system.
Yeah.
There's only so much one person can do.
Right.
I got 3 kids now. My time is, when I first started in real estate, I'll do it. You have all the time in the world.
Yeah.
To go say yes to everything. And the pressure on my time, we're a single income household too. So I'm working to support the household, but I also want to be in the household with my kids while they're young, So as the pressure of my time became too great, which was, post-COVID to about 2 years ago it was tough.
Yeah.
The need, the commitment to bringing in another person, especially a talented person, which I'm very fortunate I have, is you can only go so far on your own. So I brought her on because I want to go to the next level. I wouldn't be able to do this podcast if I didn't have somebody managing the back end stuff. I wouldn't be able to, I'm teaching all around the state now. I'm teaching at the Johnson County Association of Realtors. I'm teaching in Charlotte, So which was my goal. It's what I love to do. I couldn't do that if I didn't have another person. So yes, this is stressful. It is, but it's an investment.
Yeah.
It's an investment in the future.
Yeah. I love that. So for your team, do you plan on growing it out for other agents? Do you kind of just want to keep it a dynamic duo you guys got going on? What's the future look like?
The future is interesting. Keller Williams is very much focused on models and systems. And I believe and I haven't entirely fleshed this out because I don't know where it's all going to go, but the more I learn about the capabilities of AI, the more I wonder if the traditional models of a real estate team may be shifting a little bit.
I haven't heard of that perspective.
In terms of, the model for Keller Williams is you hire 2 admin before you bring on another agent. You have like your sort of director of ops person, your client management or whatever, and a transaction coordinator.
Yeah.
Right now, I have one with the level of business I'm at. I have one person doing both of those things. If my business grows by 30%, I mean, this is going to be somebody doing transaction coordination full time.
Right.
But I wonder if AI's job is to replace repetitive tasks like scheduling and email updates, and one transaction coordinator in theory should be able to handle a much greater volume of transactions.
Right.
So I just wonder if there's a world where there's kind of like an amorphous 3-person team that is like able to do so much more than they were before. In my mind, it'd be sort of one sort of lead agent, one entirely dedicated ops person, and maybe one other agent. And that's what I see for myself.
Yeah.
I do not want to manage a team of 10 real estate agents who are just like me. That sounds awful.
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
Yeah.
But I do believe that a really, really small and mighty team, 1, maybe 2 agents.
Okay.
1 dedicated ops person and me. I think we could go pretty far.
Yeah. That sounds sick.
Like I took an AI class yesterday and I was just like, I asked the guy, I was like, with what you're using AI for, like, do you also pay a ton of money for a CRM? And he was like, well, we handle a really high volume of business, lots of sensitive stuff. So he's in the mortgage industry. He's like, so we need a dedicated CRM. But his follow-up response was like, if you're starting out, if you're a small agent, dude, I mean, the technology is insane.
Insane and cheap.
It's insane and cheap. There were people in the room who were balking at paying $20 a month for premium ChatGPT, and I just raised my hand and said, "This is the best ROI on the planet.
Yeah.
Like, dude, this $20 a month is nothing."
Yeah.
For what you get
It's
out.
actually crazy.
So, and I don't know. Is it always going to be that way? Like, I don't know. That's like that's where I'm in a position where like I can maybe challenge the Keller Williams model, which has stood the test of time for 40 years. That's why I said I haven't totally fleshed it out yet because I don't know where it's going to go. If it all of a sudden becomes expensive and prohibitive, then maybe it's not going to be as drastic as I think.
Yeah, but what'd you think of the coffee?
It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. I mean, truthfully, I'm not a huge flavored coffee guy.
Either. Yeah.
I think we're drinking it black. I think milk and sugar would make it worse.
That's true. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you place it?
I'm gonna say, put it as a 4.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, I normally drink 9 and 10.
Yeah.
I have a high threshold for coffee.
Yeah.
And it's not the worst coffee I've ever had.
Right.
But so yeah, we'll give it a solid 4.
Yeah. It's
Would I drink it again? No.
No.
Would I serve it to my friends? Maybe. There's nothing else left.
Yeah, man. I would probably say I'd have to be below a 5 because 5 is like middle of the road. I'd say like a 4.8.
Yeah. I think we're in alignment that it's not great.
Yeah. Sorry, I gave you a bad cup of coffee.
That's right. We'll win them all. We had a great conversation.
Yeah.
That's what I came here to do.
That's right. I think my lowest rating was like a 6 point something. So that's pretty low.
Okay. Wow. I see how it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't like flavored coffee. But again, I was like, And the spirit of Christmas, the bag's cool. Let's give it a shot.
I think an interesting exercise for you the next time you do this would have the guest and you write down what you think the coffee is before the other person says it. Because I wonder
how much sway there is.
How much sway there is. If I was here, I was like, it's a 4, and you're over there like, oh, geez, I think it's a 10.
No, I would probably.
I know.
No.
I'm not saying.
I would. Honestly, maybe 4.8 is too high because it just wasn't very good. But
I'm saying, did I anchor you when I said 4?
Maybe.
I don't know. It's just a thought experiment. I don't know.
I like it. That's a good idea.
You want to tell me how to dip board?
Yeah.
Shut up at the same time. 3, 2, 1.
Somebody give us a 10. Yeah, no, actually, that was terrible. Terrible cup of coffee. I accidentally had a 4. But yeah, no, it wasn't very good. But I mean, I'd say this all the time on the podcast. There's so many factors for me that go into a rating. A, what time of day am I drinking? Like, if I'm recording a podcast at 5 p.m., it's not going to hit as good as that same cup of coffee at 9 a.m. You know what I'm saying?
Is it the first cup of coffee you've had?
This one today?
Well, I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah.
Does that factor?
Right, it does.
Because I had a really good cup of coffee before I came here.
Yeah. This is my 3rd cup today, so. You know, is the conversation good? It was, but the coffee was not. So, yeah, I don't know, but whatever. We gave it an honest effort at the coffee anyway. Conversation was great. Where can people find you?
Best place to find me on Instagram. Cory Sherman Real Estate is my handle. Cory, no E.
Nice.
CorySherman. Cory Sherman Real Estate, and just look me up on Facebook.
Where can people find your workshops?
Well, they can find them. I'm in the process of making a website just for the workshop.
Oh, cool.
So I don't have that set up yet, but they can email me, direct message me, and we can get one set up. Right now, I'm focusing on bringing it to real estate offices and realtor associations.
Okay, cool. Bring it here.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah.
So connect me with the person who's in charge of training.
For sure.
And it's been great. You know, I ran the workshop at a Keller Williams office, and I just ran like a short mini workshop on like a leadership call for Keller Williams, like for the region.
Okay.
Because you know, I'm looking at this through the lens of like an agent's real estate business, but also for a leadership team within an office. Conflict. I mean, we're talking conflict in recruiting, in retention, within amongst the leadership, regional leadership versus local leadership. I mean, the framework has many applications.
Yeah.
Not just for agents. So, I'm encouraging when I teach at the market centers. I'm also encouraging their leadership team to show up as well, because I think he can help them.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I'm excited for it.
Yeah,
I think this thing's gonna blow up.
Yeah. I've gotten a lot of really positive feedback, and it's because it's very timely. This is what agents need right now. You know, what they talk about is, it's like, so they talk about this in win-win negotiations, which is this negotiation quotient, right? And so there's like a gap. You have like sellers who want to sell their house, and they have this idea of what it's going to sell for. And you have buyers who want to buy a house, and they have this idea of how much they want to pay. The closer those two things are, like in the market, it's like the less important negotiation skills are for the real estate agent. But where are they now? Where are those two sides? Would you say there's a gap in what sellers want for their house and what buyers want to pay?
Yeah.
Within that gap lies all the opportunity.
Yeah.
For a real estate agency.
Yeah.
That is our opportunity to keep deals together, to grow relationships, to grow our business, to demonstrate, to show our value in the marketplace, to keep our jobs. The bigger the gap, the more we are needed.
Yeah.
Because we do this so much, and most people do it once or twice in their life.
Right.
So like, don't see that gap and think, oh my God, that's scary. Oh my God, that's the end of my business. See that gap and get excited, because that's where the opportunity is.
Are we fired up, man?
Get into some conflict.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's fight. Well, thanks for coming on, Cory. This was awesome. It was a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been a pleasure. Thanks, Ethan.
All right. Bye, everybody.